Could humanity be the secret weapon the galaxy never saw coming? The cosmos had always whispered its dark secrets, and tonight, those secrets took the form of the Vex. These were no ordinary foes. The Vex were a relentless alien race with bodies made entirely of gleaming crystal. They swept through the galaxy like a cold, unfeeling storm, leaving nothing but barren, gray worlds in their wake. Every planet they touched lost its vibrant colors and life, turning into a desolate rock, a mere echo of what once was in a distant corner of the galaxy. A grand assembly known as the Galactic Council had been summoned. 17 diverse alien races, each with its own unique culture and technology, gathered together under a single roof to discuss this overwhelming threat. The atmosphere was heavy with tension and fear as old allies bickered and new alliances were strained by the dire news. At the center of this debate stood Ambassador Zorth, a dignified figure with eyes that had witnessed millennia of cosmic events. With a calm yet resolute tone, Zorth revealed a grim fact. The Vex had an uncanny ability to absorb energy weapons. Their crystalline bodies could siphon off the very power of the advanced armaments that every member of the Council relied upon. In an instant, the technological might of the entire Council seemed reduced to useless trinkets. The assembly fell into a somber silence as images of devastation played out before their eyes. A new attack had been recorded. A flotilla of the Vex crystal ships was seen draining all the energy from a once thriving planet. The vibrant hues of life were stripped away, leaving behind a dull, lifeless gray that marked the planet as another casualty in the Vex's inexorable march. The sight of a world transformed into a wasteland was enough to make even the most hardened alien tremble. Amid this storm of despair and uncertainty, voices in the Council began to rise with proposals. Some argued for surrender, believing that resistance would only hasten the inevitable doom. Others suggested a full-scale evacuation, sacrificing entire civilizations to save a few. There were even those who advocated for a desperate final stand, clinging to a last hope of victory against overwhelming odds. The debates were fierce, with each council member desperately grasping for a solution to stem the tide of destruction. Then, out of the midst of heated arguments, Ambassador Gar, an alien known for his unorthodox ideas, stepped forward. He proposed something that startled everyone in the room. He suggested that they seek help from humanity. The mere thought sent a ripple of disbelief through the council. Humans, a relatively new and minor member of the Galactic Alliance, were widely regarded as primitive and unpredictable. Many council members scoffed at the idea, dismissing it as a desperate gamble from a being who clearly underestimated the centuries of alien progress they had achieved. But Ambassador Gar wasn't so easily dismissed. He spoke passionately, his voice resonating with a mix of conviction and urgency. He reminded the council that while humans might appear unrefined, they had evolved through countless conflicts and hardships. Their history was a tapestry of resilience, ingenuity, and the kind of raw determination that could turn the tide of war. He argued that humans possessed a unique knack for problem-solving, a quality forged in the crucible of survival. In his view, the human spirit was exactly what was needed to counter the seemingly invincible Vex. Despite the initial mockery and skepticism, Gar's argument managed to pierce through the doubt. Reluctantly, the Council agreed to send a distress message to Earth. It was a decision that stirred a mix of hope and apprehension, as the fate of entire galaxies now rested on a species that had, until now, been underestimated by the great powers of space. Halfway across the galaxy, on a planet blue and bustling with life, Earth received that very message. Admiral Helen Chin, a seasoned leader with a keen eye for strategy, was among the first to examine the reports of the Vex's relentless rampage. In a secure military command center, she pored over detailed transmissions and data, her mind racing as she pieced together the gravity of the situation. The Vex were unlike any enemy humanity had ever faced, and yet their belief that humans were weak was a dangerous misconception. Unbeknownst to the Council and the Vex alike, Earth had been preparing for this very moment. In secret, behind closed doors, and under a shroud of utmost secrecy, the nations of Earth had collaborated on a project that pushed the boundaries of science and warfare. From the remnants of alien technology reverse-engineered from past encounters, an advanced warship had been built, a ship that could stand toe-to-toe with the might of the Vex. This marvel of engineering was known as the UES Nemesis, an Omega-class battleship designed not just for brute strength, but for tactical brilliance. Its very existence was a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity, a symbol of hope against the dark tide of destruction. Debates raged among Earth's military leaders. Deploying the Nemesis meant putting the planet at risk, leaving it potentially vulnerable to further attacks. Yet, the alternative, remaining passive in the face of a threat that spanned galaxies, was a risk even greater. After many long hours of heated discussion and weighing the potential costs, it was decided the Nemesis would be sent out to face the Vex, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of a species determined to survive. At the helm of this daring mission stood Captain Maya Donovan, a leader renowned for her sharp mind and unyielding spirit. The day the Nemesis prepared to leave Earth was a day of mixed emotions, a cocktail of nerves, determination, and a fierce sense of duty. The crew on board was unlike any other in the galaxy. They were a diverse group, trained in multiple disciplines so that every member could adapt to any situation. In a departure from the rigid military structures of the Galactic Alliance, the human approach was fluid and dynamic. Each soldier had been cross-trained for various roles, making them versatile in combat and problem-solving. Their preparation wasn't just about following orders. It was about thinking on their feet, innovating in the heat of battle, and using every tool at their disposal to fight for their survival. As the Nemesis began its long journey away from Earth, Captain Donovan gathered her crew in the briefing room. Her voice was steady, her gaze unwavering as she looked into the eyes of the men and women who would soon be facing what many believed to be an unbeatable enemy. "Remember," she said, "they think we're weak, they think we're primitive. But it's exactly because we've had to fight for everything that we have the edge they don't. We are adaptable, we are resourceful, and above all, we are unbreakable." Her words struck a chord, and in that moment, every crew member felt the weight of responsibility and the burning thrill of possibility. The Nemesis wasn't just a ship. It was a promise, a challenge thrown down to the invincible Vex. The ship surged forward, leaving the familiar blue sphere of Earth behind. Outside the viewing ports, the vast expanse of space unfurled like a dark, star-studded ocean, each star a silent witness to the battles of old and the ones yet to come. The crew watched in awe as the familiar gave way to the mysterious, each moment reinforcing the realization that their mission was not just about survival. It was about proving that humanity could stand against any force, no matter how insurmountable it seemed. As the Nemesis glided through the void, Captain Donovan's thoughts drifted back to the fateful meeting of the Galactic Council. The memory of Ambassador Gar's impassioned plea and the skeptical glances of his peers haunted her. In that moment, she understood that humanity's greatest strength lay not in its weapons or technology, but in its spirit, the fire that refused to be extinguished even in the cold vacuum of space. Every twist and turn in this journey was a test, a challenge to prove that human ingenuity could overcome the rigid might of an alien enemy that had once seemed unstoppable. The journey was long, and the silence of space was occasionally broken by the hum of the Nemesis's engines and the soft murmur of the crew as they kept a watchful eye on every sensor reading. Then, on the edge of a star cluster known for its volatile energy fields, the Nemesis encountered a strange phenomenon. The sensors picked up an unusual energy signature, a flicker of power that was not immediately recognized. Captain Donovan ordered a closer inspection, and the crew braced themselves for whatever lay ahead. The ship drifted toward the anomaly, and as they drew closer, a chilling scene unfolded before them. A vast field of debris and scattered remnants of what appeared to be a once thriving system was revealed. It was as if the Vex had already passed through, stripping this corner of space of its life and vitality. The crew could see the ghostly remnants of shattered satellites, abandoned space stations, and a strange, eerie glow that seemed to pulse in sync with the beat of the universe. In that moment, the reality of the enemy they were about to face was stark and undeniable, a predator that left nothing in its wake. Captain Donovan stood at the helm, her eyes fixed on the dark horizon where the unknown awaited. "This is it," she whispered, more to herself than to anyone else. In that quiet moment, the enormity of their task sank in. The fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds depended on the courage and determination of her crew. They had one chance, a single shot at proving that humanity could rise to the challenge when faced with an enemy that had, for too long, been feared by all. The Nemesis accelerated, its engines roaring to life as it set a course straight for the heart of the Vex territory. Each passing moment was filled with the electric tension of a battle that could tip the scales of the entire galaxy. The crew knew that every decision, every maneuver, could mean the difference between victory and extinction. In those silent corridors of the battleship, each crew member felt the weight of history pressing upon them. They were no longer just soldiers or engineers. They were the embodiment of human hope, the living proof that even the smallest spark of determination could ignite a revolution. As the Nemesis ventured deeper into enemy space, whispers of the impending battle echoed through the ship's corridors. Stories of past skirmishes, of close encounters and narrow escapes, merged with the new legends being written by the relentless advance of the Vex. Every eye on board was fixed on the horizon, every hand steady on the controls, as they prepared for a confrontation that would test their limits and reshape the fate of the galaxy. The battle that lay ahead was not just a clash of technology and might. It was a collision of wills. The Vex, with their crystalline forms and energy-absorbing powers, represented a force of nature, an enemy that had long ruled the cosmos with an iron grip. Yet here, on the bridge of the UES Nemesis, stood a crew that had learned to harness the unpredictable, to fight with passion and creativity. They were determined to show the universe that even the most formidable foes could be overcome by the simple, unyielding spirit of humanity. In that moment, as the stars blazed like scattered embers against the endless black, Captain Donovan's voice rang out over the intercom, clear and resolute. "Let them come," she declared. "We're ready. They may have feared no one, but today they'll face a force they never imagined. A force that fights for every breath, every heartbeat, every life worth saving." The stage was set for a confrontation that would be etched into the annals of history. A battle where the raw, indomitable will of humanity clashed with the cold, calculated power of the Vex. And as the Nemesis closed the distance, every crew member felt a surge of determination. In that quiet, electrifying moment, they knew that this fight was more than just a military engagement. It was a testament to the strength of a species that had risen from the ashes of countless trials to become a beacon of hope in a dark universe. With the Vex looming ahead like a crystalline storm, the UES Nemesis charged into the fray. The ensuing battle would test every lesson learned, every strategy devised in the secrecy of Earth's hidden war room. For Captain Maya Donovan and her crew, this was not just another mission. It was the moment that would define their legacy. The enemy might have ruled the cosmos with fear, but now, for the first time, they were about to learn that true strength was forged in the crucible of adversity, tempered by the relentless human spirit. And so, as the first beams of energy clashed with the cold, unyielding crystal of the Vex, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Every shot fired, every maneuver executed, was a declaration that the underestimated and the overlooked could rise to meet any challenge. The battle for survival had begun, and the echoes of this conflict would resonate through the stars for eons to come. That epic clash between the relentless power of the Vex and the fiery determination of humanity. The universe would bear witness to a new chapter. A chapter where the predators who once feared no one were forced to reckon with an enemy that had grown stronger with every struggle. And in that struggle, every human aboard the Nemesis carried not just their own hopes, but the collective dreams of a species that had dared to challenge the cosmos itself. This was the story of a battle that would redefine what it meant to be strong, to fight, and to believe in the impossible. The Nemesis, a silent guardian born from Earth's ingenuity, sailed through the cosmic darkness like a beacon of defiance. And as the battle raged on, every moment of uncertainty was met with a resolve that could only come from knowing that, in the end, hope and courage would always prevail over fear. This was not just a fight for survival. It was the moment when humanity proved that even the mightiest foes, those who had ruled the galaxy with impassive cruelty, could be challenged by the unexpected, by a force that refused to be tamed. The Nemesis and its crew carried the spark of rebellion, a fire that would light up the darkest corners of space and remind the universe that every legend begins with a single, courageous step as the UES Nemesis hurtled forward into the heart of the Vex Armada. Every pulse of energy, every whisper of determination, echoed the truth that had carried humanity this far. That the spirit of survival is the greatest weapon of all. And with that truth at their core, Captain Maya Donovan and her brave crew embarked on what would be their most defining adventure. A mission that would turn the tide of the cosmic war and etch their names into the stars forever. In that defining moment, as the clash of energy and crystal filled the void of space, the universe held its breath. The Predators, once fearless, now faced a challenge that transcended raw power, a challenge born of endless struggle, innovation, and the unbreakable bond of the species that had refused to be silenced. And as the battle unfolded, the story of the Vex and the Nemesis became more than just a tale of war. It became a legend of hope, resilience, and the enduring power of humanity.